So now let's see a new method. What exactly this method has to do is, to this particular method we will be asking to add multiple elements. So we will be passing an array to this particular method, and this should add all the elements present inside an array to the linked list. So basically the name of the method should be addAll, and I should pass the elements, and what it should do is it should add all the elements to the linked list. So assume that I have a linked list like this, and I have an elements like this. Now all that I need to do is I need to call that particular method. So once I call the method, all the elements present over here should be added to that particular linked list one by one. Now how to do this method? This method is very simple because we already know how to add one element. Since we know how to add one element, we will call the same method again and again, and we will add all the elements. So what exactly I need to do is, since I have multiple elements, I will run a for each loop for this particular elements, and then I will call the method called as add method, and to that particular method every time I will pass one by one. So how do I write the code? Code would be very simple. I just have to write one for each loop where elements will be taken and one by one element will be present inside the variable, and every time I need to call the method add. First time when I call the method add, the first elements get added. Second time when I call, the second element get added. Third time when I call, the third element gets added. Fourth time when I call, the fourth element gets added. So all the element has got added. So that's all it has to do, and this will be our linked list. So I hope this is completely clear, and this is very simple. So now let's go and write the code for this particular thing. So now let's go and create a method called as addAll. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go to the linked list class. So if I go to the linked list class, so I would like to minimize all the methods that I've written first. So let me minimize this. So this is the linked list class. I have multiple methods. So all I have to do is I'll go over here and I'll start creating a new method. The return type would be void, and the name of the method would be addAll. And it should accept an array of elements. So what I'll do is it's nothing but an integer type array element. So I'll say int, I'll put square brackets, and I'll say AR. So I need to put the AR. Great. I'll come inside this. So over here, what is that I have to do? Very simple. I just have to call I have to pass one after the other element. So every time I will take one element and call the method called as add. That's all I have to do. So what I will do is I will run a for each loop. I will say for. I will put parenthesis. I will put a colon. So on the right side I will say AR. So instead of saying AR, the best practice would be, since I am accepting elements, I will say elements. So over here I will say elements. Great. So over here also I will say elements. And on the right hand side, one by one element would be present, so I will say element. Great. I will give one space. Element is of type integer, so I will say int. So I will come to the next line. And now since I am getting one by one element, I will just pass this to add method. So how do I pass it to my add method? I will just call add, and I will pass element. That's not an element. So if I do this, all the elements would get added one after the other. So what I will do is, let's go to the main method and let's start adding the elements. So this add method also I'd like to comment. I'll go to the next line. First thing is I need to create an array. So let me create an array. So int AR equal to, and I will add directly I would like to hard code the elements. So what I will do is I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I will put semicolon. I will come to the next place and I will call the method called as addAll. So ll.addAll, and I will say elements. Great. And I will remove this A. Not elements, AR. Great. So if I do this, what exactly happens is, over here I have 10, 20, 30, 40. After that all the other elements gets added. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's see whether it's actually happening or not happening. So if I just execute this particular code, so you can clearly see 10, 20, 30, 40, and after that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's getting added clearly. So one thing that I wanted to do is, I don't want to print this particular thing. So if I execute, you can clearly see I am printing one after the other. So let me bring this to the right hand side. I don't want to print like this, rather I want all of them to be printed in one line. So where is that change I have to do is I need to do the change in the print linked list. So let me go to the print linked list and print all of them in a single line. So if I just open this particular method, the only change I have to do is I will remove that print ln. I will remove that ln, and after every element I will leave a space. So great. So if I do this much, it will print all of the elements in a single line. So let's check whether if I execute it's working or not. So I executed and you can clearly see it's printing 10, 20, 30, 40 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I hope this particular method is also completely clear to you. Make sure that you are actually typing the code and practicing these things. If you do not type and practice and just listen to the class, it will be definitely not helpful for you guys, because it will not improvise your thinking, it will not improvise your ability of coding as well. So make sure that you practice by typing it out.